Namaskar. Hello, friends. We have been looking at free will, destiny, and karma. We will continue with it today and wrap it up. Apply predestiny to outcome as well as effort. It is not right to restrict predestiny to only the outcome. If we want to accept predestiny, we must accept it in totality. That is, if the outcome is predestined, the effort behind it is also predestined. Then we won't get bothered by the question, if everything is predestined, then why should I make any effort? The way of looking at this aspect is to think of one destination that can be reached in many different ways. The predestiny is to the extent that one has to reach a particular destination. So one will be forced to cross the distance to it. The way one crosses the distance may not be predestined, but one will be forced to somehow cross it by walk, on horseback, by a motor car, or by a helicopter, but one will do it for sure. Karma, that is action, is something done with the help of our action organs, and experience is something that is perceived by our sense organs. The experience that our sense organs perceive is their fait accompli. That is, they have no control over it. Whatever they are exposed to from the environment is perceived in a particular way by them as an experience. But yes, to an extent our action in the past may contribute in a small or big way to the experience in the present moment. The extent of that contribution is determined by a very complex interaction of many factors upon which we may have no control. So it means that experience is more or less a destiny in some sense. Now, can I say my action is completely my choice? Who is the me exactly that is making the choice? We may say that me is the sum total of my mind, intelligence, thinking, body, etc. But then what is the process of making a choice? We may say it is the mind, intelligence that makes the choice. How do my mind and intelligence work? Aren't they guided by the way they are designed or programmed? The way our mind, intelligence, thinking, body are made and keep evolving is also a result of the underlying design program of the Creator. So, all in all, I tend to consider everything as a destiny, in the sense of being an outcome of the Creator's design. The lesson I tend to draw from this is to take life as it comes, without being judgmental or without too much analysis of why something happened the way it did. Of course, it does not mean not performing action. The action or the karma will keep happening anyway, whether we want to do it or not. That is why Shri Krishna told Arjuna that the latter's inherent nature as a warrior would make him fight anyway, his own misgivings about killing his near and dear ones notwithstanding. He gave the analogy of one who is sitting in a chariot and having no choice but to go wherever the charioteer takes him. It is only when I have expectations of a particular outcome of my action that all the problems start arising. It is then that I start analyzing my actions, somebody else's actions, what went wrong, how things could have turned out differently, etc. And wonder about destiny in the context of the result only. That is not spiritual. Free will, it is there and not there too. But does it matter? The most intriguing metaphysical question without a definitive answer is, do we have a free will? When we are considering trivial worldly situations, we certainly seem to be having a free will as regards what action we can choose from the more than one available options in the given situation. For example, when we go to a restaurant, we can order any of the dishes offered in the menu card without any serious constraint. So we have a free will in that situation. However, as we start looking at more complex situations that can affect the course of our life, it becomes difficult to say whether we have as free a will as in the case of dining at a restaurant. For example, when one is evaluating matrimonial proposals, one apparently has a choice to approve of any one of the alliances. So one may be considered to be having a free will in that situation too. But when one finally makes a choice, one has to necessarily take into account many factors like family situation, financial situation, assessment of the prospective partner's nature, likes, dislikes, career objectives, etc. So now the free will seems to be constrained by the circumstances. So it is not that free really. Actually, I have a more fundamental question in this regard. Who is it that is or is not having a free will? I would think it is the I as we perceive it. Is it our thinking mind? Do we know how a thought arises in our mind? Do we know how we make decisions? Do we understand the mental, intellectual process behind decision making? Can we control it fully? How is it that we often take decisions that are against our own wish? If the answers to these questions are hazy, vague, unsure, then how would free will be relevant? As a spiritually inclined person, I am of the view that the broad course of our life is predetermined. We may seem to be having a free will from time to time to choose any one option from the many available in a given situation. But in the long run, it does not matter which choice we ultimately made in a particular situation. Even if we had made a choice other than what we actually did, our life would still have taken broadly the same course, except that some minor and insignificant details would be different. For example, here is a typical case that can be seen fairly commonly. A student passing SSC is faced with a choice of stream, arts, science or commerce. He makes some choice, say science, and becomes an engineer. But the fate has something else in store for him, and he does a management course and gets into a job that has nothing to do with the engineering that he learnt. So he could as well have studied commerce and done management to land the same or similar job. Thus, some details in these two alternate possibilities may be different, but the broad contours of his life would be the same. Let us go still further. If and when one attains spiritual maturity, one loses one's idea of limited self. Then whose will can we talk of? A person reaching that stage does not think he is the doer of any action. So there is no question of choices and selecting one course of action. Such a person is in God consciousness and is guided by God Himself. It is only the divine will operating then. I will stop here and see you the next time. Until then, bye. Take care. Thank you.